we finally get a chance to see our number one qualifier, which is Len Anseth from Cutknife, Saskatchewan, playing number 7, Tim Wiseman. So Len's starting off like the number 1 should, with a strike.
So yeah, Len received a $500 bonus for being Player of the Year.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool.
Now the other 3 gentlemen received a prize money for finishing in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, right?
Yep.
Accordingly?
Top 4 got a little bonus payout.
Excellent. Excellent.
So now that we're in the quarterfinals, we're playing for $40 a frame.
I was looking at the top rankings, and with the final 8s that we have in here, you know, it's quite interesting to see that of the 8 guys that have played here, virtually 6 of them are in the top rankings of the top 14 or higher.
So right now, 70% of the bowlers have thrown a strike in their first ball. So everyone is in the first frame. Yes.
Okay. Because usually if you throw a strike with your first ball, it's 100%.
Never mind, you know. Yes, in the first frame. So interesting that everyone tries to get that good start, and it's critical in this to get a good start and put some pressure on your opponent.
I usually when I had the fortune of playing this, when I played it, my frame that was always the critical one was obviously the first, like you say, but once you get past the first one was frame number 3. Because if you could throw 3 strikes from the start, then you really... 3 is always the magic number.
Yeah, I always say that too. If I go double head pin, it's not that great. But if you throw the turkey,
or even if you go double corner and then a strike in a regular match, sometimes that's, you know, you're going, I only would have got that corner. But
interesting. We've only had 1 triple thrown in the first 4 matches, and that was in the 10th frame by Brett Mapstone. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Stephen Medhurst threw a triple in 4, 5, and 6 of the very first match. So,
and in the qualifying earlier, obviously, when Michael West threw his 435, he went miss spare 11 bagger.
Punch the 3-pin there. Punch the 3-pin and cost him
2 frames.
2 frames. I'm pretty sure that's the toughest spare in.
Yeah, I've always had trouble with chop-offs. That 3-pin seems to jump out there. Or if you don't hit it at all, anyway.
Yeah.
Then he throws another strike.
Nice for Len to come back and throw that strike. You know, the such a fine line between that chop off and that strike that it could be a little bit more rotation, a little less speed, or a little bit on the side. So it's a fine line between those. So Len could have easily started with 3 strikes just like that.
And you know, a lot of times when we're playing in Tim's playing in tournaments, you know when he's throwing well because he starts squeaking.
Yeah, you can hear the squeak.
You can hear the squeak of his lane.
It must run in the family. His brother squeaks too.
Well, it isn't from being tight.
I'm not sure how you know that, Gene, but
it was an observation.
A popular opinion or something?
So now this is Tim's second match, being he won his first match, so he's already had an opportunity to play on these lanes, and so with him he should have a good line on what he should be using and the speed, and hopefully he's found a ball that'll work. And based on the fact he's got 3 strikes out of 4 frames, I think he's feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, when I was talking with Len there before the match, he mentioned the fact that Tim's had a little warm-up game, so sometimes that can help you. But Lenny's been here before. He knows what he's doing. It's been a few years, but
well, that's why he was number 1 in the rankings at the start, at the end of the year, because he was as consistent as he was.
Yeah, he's had a great couple of years. Last year he won the Regina Classic.
Lenny is probably, of all the players that through the 25 years I played on the tour, Lenny's probably the gentleman that I played the most. And when Len and I first saw that we were playing one another, we used to joke about it because we'd laugh and say, geez, it's the first one to get to 700. Because we would punch our lights out and not throw really well. But in the last few years when I've had the opportunity to play Len, and we've had some really, really good matches.
And Fragment Media is doing our video production, which is actually Len Anseth's daughter, Aaliyah.
And future son-in-law.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be getting married next year at this time. So
Cool.
yeah.
Just want to take a second to mention some of our sponsors: Karen Pilon Organ Donor Foundation, Bradson Promotional Group, All Star Bowling Sales, 5 Pin Universe, and A&B Express.
So with that strike, Tim takes all the first 5 frames.
Those carryovers are huge.
Yeah.
And there
Frame
again, it could have easily been a 3rd frame carryover. That drop off that Lenny threw could have carried. It didn't.
But that's where if you get the spare there, it might put a little extra pressure on Tim.
Exactly, yeah. Len comes from a very strong bowling family. All of his brothers that I know played, and Len's wife was one of the most dominating lady players in the game for a long time.
Tim's throwing bombs. Tim's actually had a good couple of years. It took him a while to break out in the tour, but the last couple of years he's.
I think Tim has always been competitive in the tour. But by winning the Autumn Open this year, I think sometimes it's not about learning how to play; it's learning how to win. Once you've won once, a gentleman by the name of Stan Black, who was another formidable competitor in the game back in the day. I remember something he told me. He says, anybody can win one of these tournaments, but once you've won 2, then you belong.
That's what I've always said to myself, because I only have 1. I have the same thought. It's easy to win 1, but winning 2 is even harder.
And I see we're lucky enough that one of the best players that played in the tour in the games, Bruce Mortar, is here now. He just showed up with his lovely wife, Jen. So it's nice to have them here. And it's nice to see some of the older people still, not older people, Bruce is younger than I.
Yeah, your age category.
But it's nice to see some of our older competitors still come out and choose to find some interest in the game, even though they don't play.
Yeah.
Harvey Poxa being another gentleman here who had the pleasure of bowling with his daughter at the Nationals this year.
For the Calgary mixed team. Yeah.
And finishing 2nd. Ooh, I think Tim believed he had that one. So that's a 2-frame carryover win?
Yes.
Lenny?
Yeah. So now with the fact that Tim has won those first 5 frames, there's a lot of pressure on Len to win the last 5 and potentially win that total. So and with his double, he's in a good spot to make up some of that ground for that pinfall. But Tim is looking very sharp right now. He's throwing a very confident ball, and you can tell based on the rotation and the pin splash that he's throwing the ball exceptionally well.
Great shot.
Yeah, and Tim said he was nervous in the first match, but we felt a little better going in the second one just to get that one match out of the way and get the nerves, calm the nerves down a little bit.
Yeah, he's looking very confident, and that's something we all strive for in an event, is to get that confidence.
Because then the game gets easy like that.
Yeah.
Oh, and he got another bad ring.
Well, that cost him the match then.
It did. And if you look at Len's game, he's hit 8 for 8. And
It's right on the side of the head pin.
Yep, on the side of the head pin.
Yeah.
Just a couple chop offs in the
Yeah.
corner. Tim was able to run the 4-bagger.
Yeah, got the big carryover.
So just a reminder, it's $40 a frame here. So Tim's got the match, but Lenny's playing for some extra cash.
Tim will most definitely have the high score that we've had so far in the competition today. And he's looking at a potential of 371 if he happens to strike out. That'll definitely bring our average up for the scores from today, from earlier.
Yeah, I would say most of these guys probably 260, 270 average bowlers in that area. So.
And we've all been there. Any given day, 270 is easy, and on the next day, it's really difficult to do. So.
200's hard.
Yeah. It's not a game you can take lightly. You have to work at this game. It's a lot of muscle memory, and again, like you said, comparing it to golf, it's a matter of executing and finding a rhythm and being able to adjust. So all these players that are out here have had that ability to do that, or they wouldn't be here.
Looks like this ball's taking a little while to come back. Lanes have been running pretty good. No issues at all.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. No tangles.
Because it never fails. You're fully prepared, and then everything's working great. You start the tournament, and the lane breaks down. Some things you just can't control.
Yeah, I think...
Looks like the approaches are a really good speed. I don't see anyone having any trouble with the approaches. Sometimes you can get heavy approaches, but these ones seem to be really smooth right now. I don't see any issues with that. And again, all of these bowlers have shoes that they can adjust sliders, so if they get into a situation where the house is a little heavier, they'll put on a better, more of a sliding on their sliding foot so that they can make an easy adjustment. Looking very confident right now, Tim is, the way he's throwing the ball. Looks like he wants. Oh.
It's an awesome game for Tim Wiseman.
Yes.
That's the high here in this group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a high game in our series.
361. Forces Len to throw 3 strikes, which unfortunately was unable to do. First head pin of the game.
Unfortunately, sometimes you run into a guy that's hot.
Well, I think Lenny threw the ball reasonably well. He just didn't have quite the finish that Tim had.
So Lenny had a 260, so that's not too bad.
Yeah. And that's been a high game as well.
Yeah, that's the second highest game.
Second highest game thrown in the street. So.